Due to my chair.
Okay.
Is this an add-on to the second meeting or the first meeting?
That's the add-on to the second meeting. Madam Mayor, it's 5:38.
Good evening, everyone. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this Tuesday, April 2nd, special City Commission meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mayor Pam Triola.
Here.
Vice Mayor Andy Amoroso.
Here.
Commissioner Scott Maxwell.
Here.
Commissioner Omari Hardy.
Here.
Commissioner Herman Robinson.
Here.
Thank you.
If everyone would please rise for the pledge led by Commissioner Hardy.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We'd like to start with new business, item 3A, resolution number 11-2019, certifying the results of the March 26, 2019 municipal runoff election.
So moved.
Moved by the Vice Mayor Pro-Tem, seconded by Commissioner Hardy. Any other public comments? Seeing there are none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Up next, the swearing in of a re-elected official by the city attorney, Commissioner Robinson.
You're on the other side.
What side do you want to be on? The right side? Okay, there you go. Well, first off, before I say anything, Herman asked me to do a shout out to his wife, who he doesn't understand how, and I can understand how in God's name you put up with him all these years.
Point of order, point of order. Official event.
I'm repeating what he said, that's all, you know? He did want me to express the appreciation for all your support all these years, not just during the campaign.
Yay!
Now, are you ready? Please repeat after me. I, Herman Robinson,
I, Herman Robinson,
a citizen of the city of Lake Worth Beach,
a citizen of the city of Lake Worth Beach,
the state of Florida,
state of Florida,
and the United States of America,
and the United States of America,
and being an officer
and being an officer
of the city of Lake Worth
of the
Beach,
city of Lake Worth Beach,
and a recipient of public funds,
and a recipient of public funds,
as such officer, do hereby solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida,
and the charter
definitely the charter
of the city of Lake
city
Worth
of
Beach,
Lake Worth Beach,
and that I am entitled to hold office
and I'm entitled to hold office
under the Constitution
under the Constitution
and charter of the city of Lake Worth Beach,
and the charter of the city of Lake Worth Beach.
and that I will faithfully perform
I will faithfully perform
all the duties
all the duties
of the office of Commissioner,
of the office of Commissioner,
District 4,
District 4,
on which I'm about to enter.
which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
All right, okay, I really want to say a lot, but I'm only going to say thank you. Thank you, Lake Worth Beach, for returning me to the city. Can I start again? Because really, I want to thank everyone of the Lake Worth City Beach for returning me to this city commission for a second term. I cannot say thank you enough to the team of volunteers who displayed energy, thoughtfulness, and unwavering support through an election cycle that has tested everyone's resolve. We have a lot to do, and I have confidence that together we will get it done. The good news is we are stronger and better prepared to lead the city. It is very important that those of us entrusted with the public office be sensitive to and appreciative of the input freely given by engaged citizens. Not every idea will be accepted, but I promise that everyone will be heard. I promise to make it easier to understand exactly what it is that we do. The role of elected officials, the role of city manager and staff must be clear and unambiguous. No one should have to wonder what is going on, whether you agree or disagree. There should be no mystery to the democratic process. I think this was said best by our 32nd President of the United States. Government is competent when all who compose it, work as trustees for the whole people. It can make constant progress when it keeps abreast of all facts. It can obtain justified support and legitimate criticism when the people receive true information of all that government does. Again, thank you, and I'm committed to working with my fellow commissioners, the mayor, the city manager, and staff, and most particularly, all of the citizens of Lake Worth Beach, for the love of Lake Worth Beach.
Congratulations again, and at this time, I accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hardy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Vice Mayor. All those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed. Motion carries unanimously. Welcome back. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this Tuesday, April 2nd, regular City Commission meeting. And I'd like to ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mayor Pam Triolo. Vice Mayor Andy Amoroso.
Here.
Commissioner Scott Maxwell.
Here.
Commissioner Omari Hardy.
Here.
Commissioner Herman Robinson.
Here.
Thank you.
I don't know if I properly said here.
Oops, I saw that you were here. I'm
Here.
sorry.
Thank you. Now, the only concern I have is if Pastor Betancourt from the Church of God is here. That's one.
Sylvina asked him to get here early if, is he not here?
I'm wondering if we should take a pause to wait for your,
We talk amongst ourselves. We talk amongst ourselves for a few minutes.
we can talk about. Want to take a brief recess until the pastor gets here? I think that would be a nice thing to do since he's made special time out of his schedule to be with us this
Okay.
evening. Let's take a quick recess. Thank you. Wait.
Knocking on their doors.
It's 5:58. We're calling everyone back to the dais, please.
Fire alarm. What is that?
That's the beeper to get him back here.
Sounds like my patient.
What our commission,
Did Herman quit already?
Elect-
Yeah.
electeds.
Celebrating.
They're planning a coup.
Coup d'etat.
Who is the next one to walk in?
I
Okay.
see.
You want to start?
They're on the way.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, it's 6 o'clock.
All right. We're going to continue on with our invocation or moment of silence from Pastor Betancourt from Church of God on behalf of Commissioner Scott Maxwell. Pastor Betancourt, would you like to join us up front?
Hello and good evening to everybody. I'm Pastor Carlos from Church of God, Iglesia de Dios, here right on the corner in Lake Worth. Let's pray together. Let's start. Our Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for this opportunity that you allow us to come before you on this house of the people, to be reunited, to discuss and deal with any situation or business that have to do with this great city of Lake Worth and its people. We give you thanks for the mayor and the commissioners, the good people that are here reunited. We ask for your wisdom, your guidance, so that any decision that is going to make here today, tonight, it will be on the best interest of the people of Lake Worth and on these people that work very hard every day. We ask you for your blessings. Bless the United States of America, the city of Lake Worth, and we know that your presence will be real. In the most glorious name, amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
Commissioner Robinson, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, do we have any additions, deletions, or reordering?
Madam Mayor, we do. We've added the designation of appointments that we usually do at the first meeting after an election.
Okay, so are we adding that prior to the school board update?
I would hope that we could do the school board update first.
Okay, because it was just listed as A and B, and the school
Yes.
board was as A. So we would be moving the designated appointments to B and C, leaving the school board update as is.
That's right, Madam Mayor.
I'll entertain
Thank
a
you.
motion to accept the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And welcome to our monthly school board update presented by Highland Elementary School by Ms. Villani. How are you?
Great, how are you?
Thank you. Very good. We're so happy to have you here.
I'm very honored to be here, to be able to brag about Highland Elementary and to share some bits and information about our school so that you can fully see all the ins and outs of our campus and our school. I'll start off with our school history. So Highland Elementary is nestled right between I-95, just south of 10th Avenue on A Street. And, you know, it's really funny. We were just recently doing an application for Green Schools of Excellence. And in our researching, we found out that there's scientific evidence to prove that Highland Elementary was once underwater and eroded over time to form the top of a sand dune. And even today, students participating in nature walks on our campus will find seashells within the soil. And so that's something that's really unique to Highland that I thought would be great to be able to share. Highland was built in 1954 and was replaced in 1998. So when you go to our campus, there's different buildings and different places, and you're kind of going up and down stairs, and you may think you're on the second floor, but it's really the first floor of another building. So it's very unique in its design. A little bit about our demographics. When you look at the breakdown of our campus, so with ethnicity, we have 17% of our students are Black, 4% are white, 70% of our students are Hispanic, and then 9% fall under the category of others. When you actually break them down into the categories in which they participate in, we have 98% of our students is on free and reduced lunch. 75% of our students are English language learners. 10% of our students are students with disabilities. 6% of our students are migrant, and 13% fall under the McKinney-Vento, which is our students that are considered homeless or in temporary housing. When you look at the demographics of the teachers that are on our campus, we have 8% of our staff is first-year teachers. When you look at the teachers that have been there for 1 to 3 years of experience, we have 19%. Teachers with 4 to 7 years of experience, 18%. Teachers with 8+ years of teaching experience, 56%. 12% of our teachers are reading endorsed. 57% of our teachers have the ESOL designation, which is for students learning other languages. And 5% of our teachers have received a national board certification. When we look at our support staff, and so this would consist of our administrators, people in coordinator positions. We have a single school culture coordinator who's considered an administrator, and she has 8 years of experience, a reading coach that has 23 years of experience, 2 ESOL, I have an ESOL guidance counselor who has 28 years experience, and then a non-ESOL, a gen ed guidance counselor who has 12 years of experience. A parent liaison who has 7 years experience. ESOL teachers, I have 12 that service all the students in the school, and on average between the 12 of them, there's about 12 years average of teaching experience. 2 ESOL coordinators, and they each have 25 years of teaching experience, and all of those experiences has been actually as a teacher at Highland, so they're very proud of that. I have a dual language coach that has been teaching for 12 years. An ESC coordinator that has been teaching for 14 years, a co-allocated mental health therapist, which we just received recently, and that is as a result of the Stoneman-Douglas Act, that all the schools in the school district are being affiliated with a co-allocated mental health therapist. And she has been in this position for 2 years, but has been in the social work aspect and working with families in different capacities. I believe she has said for like a total of 7 or 8 years. And I have my school police officer who has been in law enforcement for 13 years. Some highlights of Highland is that we do have an in-house dual language program, K-5, where we always end up having a waiting list, which is really neat. We're not part of the choice program, so all the kids that are in our dual language program are our neighborhood kids, so they're able to be a part of that program. Same thing with our AMP program, which is an accelerated math program. So for example, our 4th grade students are learning 5th grade math, and they would take the 5th grade assessment. So we are providing them accelerated coursework. We also have a VPK and a Head Start program, so we have little ones from the age of 2, so whenever you're having a bad day, it's really cute to see them. Our culture and our climate at Highland is just contagious. Like everybody truly, we have our motto where Highland has heart, and that really is the case. Like my teachers and my staff really go above and beyond for the students, the community, and they're just fully vested in the kids. So the culture and the climate is something that I like to highlight because it's something we take great pride in. We have a world-class music program with Mr. Fragile and Miss Bacher, and between chorus, band, our Orff Ensemble, world drumming, and handbell choir. They have played for the city of Lake Worth. They were in the street painting festival. So this is something that, they truly take active participation within the city. Our parent participation, there is not a meeting that I have on campus where I don't have 50, 60 parents show up at the meeting. Sometimes they don't know why they're there, but you call out and they come. And so that is something that we're very proud of as well, because they really had the desire to really be a partner with us in their child's education. And as I was mentioning before, we have been designated the Florida Green Apple School and our Green School of Quality through FAU Green Schools Recognition Program. We just submitted our application for Green Schools of Excellence, so we're really hoping to be able to receive that designation. But what's really neat is that we have received all of these accolades with regard to green schools without our school being designed to be a green school. And so I know Commissioner Robinson has even helped us sometimes when we have had our campus cleanups. And so it really becomes an effort of the community and the school as a whole, because we have gone above and beyond to make our school a green school without having it been designed to be one. Some partnerships and grants, you know, schools such as mine, we take every opportunity that we can, and just so that our students can be afforded with everything that is out there for them. So the FAU AIT program are really students that are seeking the opportunity to become teachers, and so they get to have a mentor through the university as well as through the school, and we guarantee them a job. And so it's really nice because they come with so much support, so their success rate tends to be much higher than your typical average new first-year teacher. We also have a partnership with the Guatemalan Mayan Center, Bridges, Adopt a Family, our after-school program. We just received this year the grant for 21st Century. Excuse me, the Rotary Club has recently donated dictionaries to our third grade students. Latinos in Action, we have the students from Lake Worth Middle School come to Highland and they mentor the kids, they work with the kids, so the kids love that. It's almost like a weekly field trip that they come on campus. Teamwork USA, they have donated instruments for our school, and they come and they even offer private music lessons for our students on campus during the school day, during their music time. So they have an opportunity for that. Tropical Ridge Neighborhood Association has been spectacular. They always even come to our SAC meetings, and we really have partnered together greatly with them. The Ventus Charitable Foundation has really assisted us with just classroom libraries, summer slide programs, the Pew Grant. Palm Beach State College comes and does a whole dental program. Our kids got fluoride. They came to the school, actually set up the stage. It almost looked like a little dental office. And it's wonderful because then they even identified any students that needed some additional dental care, so that the school and the school district can work together with the families to get them, if they have cavities or things like that, so they can get some additional assistance with that. The Lake Worth High School, their early childhood program, they come and do like their internship at our campus with the VPK and the Head Start, so that's a really nice little partnership. And then the Center for Child Counseling is where our co-allocated mental health agency, that is the agency that she's affiliated with. Some of the barriers to our success is the proficiency rate in all of our core areas, so our ELA, our math, our writing, and our science proficiency. I will like to brag that today was our first day of testing, and we had less than 10 students that need to retake the exam. So kudos to my testing team back there for really hounding the parents to come to school and making sure that the kids knew how important it was to come on the day of testing. Our teacher retention and support rate, you know, sometimes with a school such as ours, you know, with all of the challenges that sometimes our students come with, our retention rate with teachers is not as high as we would like it to be. So we do have some barriers with that. Our kindergarten and school readiness, our students are not necessarily coming ready for kindergarten, so they may not know what some other students may know, like their letters and their sounds. These are all things that are just brand new. They're brand new to school, and even just understanding how to sit in a classroom, how to, you know, get in a line to go to a lunchroom. These are all things that our students are being first time introduced to when they get to kindergarten. Our high number of newcomers, you know, just this past week we registered 10 new students, and every day, every week, we're registering anywhere between 5 to 10 students per week. And so we do have a very high number of newcomers, and these are students that are not new to Highland, but new to the U.S., new to the state of Florida, and everything that kind of encompasses that. a transient population. You know, we have a lot of students that will come to me, go to South Grade, go to Barton, go to Palm Springs, you know, so they're kind of transitioning to different schools. Our attendance rate, although today that was not an issue, our attendance rate sometimes is not as good as we would like it to be. And it's not because our parents don't understand the importance of education, but, you know, they coddle the students greatly. So if they have a little bit of the sniffles, they'll leave them home. And, you know, so it's little things like that that sometimes are a challenge for us with attendance. And the capacity of my teachers, because sometimes we do get a lot of new teachers, they may not fully understand the rigor of the standards and the curriculum that needs to be delivered to the students. So we spend a lot of time as an administrative team. All of us were previous reading coaches, and so we really dedicate a lot of time to building the capacity of our teachers, because that's going to help us with our retention rate. So these are some of the barriers that we face. And then when you look at some of the early warning systems data that we have at our school, so students with 10 or more days of absences, we're almost at 18%, which is a lot for an elementary school. When you look at students that have had one or more suspensions, that's 2%. Students that have had one or more retentions, and you tend to find a lot of that in third grade, is 8%. And students that are showing 2 or more of those indicators is, you know, a little bit over 9%. So these are things that, as you look at in the long run, may eventually hinder them once they start getting into high school. You know, because either these habits of coming to school on time or starting those behaviors of being suspended, being behavioral issues, eventually start to follow them. So you try to, you know, catch that early and give them that support as to how to make good choices, whether it's to come to school or not get suspended. Okay, so opportunities for growth. You know, we want to continue to build the capacity of our teachers. We want to be able to continue to build the oral language within our students, their vocabulary, because a lot of that academic language is what's going to help them be successful when they take these state assessments, even with, as they're learning new content, being able to be challenged with that rigor and the standards. We want to be able to have our teachers be prepared on teaching whole group instruction and small group instruction, knowing how to use that data to drive their instruction. If a student is struggling in one area, just a handful of kids, you don't need to teach that whole group. You just teach it to that group of kids to help them catch up and move them on, as well as to challenge them if you have a couple of kids that need some enrichment. We also want to build the capacity of our parents, because they really are showing an interest and a desire to be actively involved in the school. So when we build their capacity to understand the standards and understand the curriculum and understand what the expectations are of their child, they'll be able to be a better support versus just somebody who showed up at a meeting without knowing why they need to be there. And aligning the interventions with all of the areas of weaknesses with our students. When you look at our data, we were a C school last year. We're striving, so we have these shirts that say all students will achieve. We're 78 points away from an A out of 700. So I don't want you to think 78 out of 100, 78 points out of 700 points. So we really feel that we have the capability. Our students can do it. Our students are hungry. And so we really feel that we can. When you look at our proficient rate, when you go back to our barriers, 35% of our students, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade have demonstrated proficiency. 61%, which is the one part that we're very proud of students that are showing learning gains, that are either going up by 1 or more levels throughout the years that they have been taking the assessment. So 3rd to 4th, 4th to 5th. And then out of our lowest 25% of our students, we had 56% of them make learning gains. And when you look at math, 62% of our kids are proficient, 59 additional ones made learning gains, 55 of our lowest 25. Science proficiency is just a flat score. There's no learning gains in science because only 5th grade takes a science assessment, and we're at 25%. And you typically see a nice correlation between science and the ELA scores, because the science assessment is very big, is very heavy in the reading area. And when you add all those points, that equals 353, and that gave us our C. There is our All Students Will Achieve. We had our pep rally on Friday, and we really partnered up with a lot of the different community members. The Lake Worth High School Marching Band came and performed. We borrowed the Panther, because we're a Panther, from Dwyer High School. I had the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office came and supported. Everybody was at the school. It was really nice. A lot of our partnerships came. And so the kids got to see it's not just your teachers and your administrators that believe in you. Your whole community is behind you. And so even still today, they are just talking about it. We did a little step routine, so it was a lot of fun. And so that little girl that you see right there, that was her holding a banner that our K1 and 2 classes adopted the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade classes. And so they made all these, motivational signs for them just to let them know that we're one big family and we're all behind you. And that's Highland in a nutshell.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Hardy?
The first thing I'll say is everybody I know who's dealt with you in the community loves you. They recognize that you're doing a really awesome job and that your approach has taken you outside of the 4 walls of your school and into the community. And everybody appreciates that.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. Can you go back to the yes. So something that a lot of residents are concerned with in the city are the school grades, right? In particular because when, these residents are homeowners, very many of them, and when people move into the community or are thinking about moving to the community, one of the first things they look at, whether it's on Zillow or Truly or what have you, is what's the grade of the school. And so a lot of people come to us and they say, we have to improve the schools, we have to improve the schools. And when they say improve the schools, they might mean something different than what I think we think, those of us who work in schools. We're thinking very holistically, in addition to the grade, which is really important.
Sure.
But when they think about that, they're thinking about the school grade, right? Because that directly ties into their property values and the attractiveness of the city and the ability of the city to bring in really, really quality residents. So I guess my first question would be for you, what's the path that you see to the B? We have proficiency, we have gains, and we have, in some subjects there are no gains. So what's the path that you see?
So the students today, after taking their assessment today was the first day of testing, they all said that we were going to be an A school next year. They felt really confident about the preparation that they have been receiving in class. And I will be completely remiss if I didn't introduce my staff, and I'll tell you why this is the moment to do it. So I have my assistant principal, Erin Walsh. I also have my assistant principal, Francis Fry, my single school culture coordinator, Katrina Clavon, my regional superintendent, Dr. Frank Rodriguez, and our school board member, Erica Whitfield. And the reason why I'm going to point that out now is because my entire administrative team, Dr. Rodriguez's team, have been in the classroom teaching the students. And we have doubled up in the classroom to really provide that intensive crunch time support since January. And we really started to do that back in in November, once when we started to prepare for our diagnostics. And then once our diagnostic scores came out, we have really just doubled down, and everybody, when I tell you every single person, to the point where I'm doing 1,000 discipline calls because I have nobody in the main office. Everybody's in a classroom. And so that is our path to an A, is that everybody is pulling their sleeves up and everybody is fully vested. My academic tutors, I can't even begin to describe how humbling it is to see the dedication of every single teacher on that campus, to the point where even during their lunches, they're having book clubs, they're pulling kids. We have after school tutorials, we had Saturday tutorials. My second graders are also in tutorials now to help them get ready for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, because we know we just can't only focus on 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we have to also focus on K1 and 2 as well, right? So everybody, when I tell you, has been involved. My teachers during their planning time that are not teaching accountability grades, how can I help? Can I even make copies? What can I do? So our path to an A is really just the dedication that everybody's going above and beyond to do interventions, to do small group instruction, to just be in the classroom and lead from the classroom and not from their offices. And that is something that I am very proud of as the leader of Highland, to see how dedicated my entire staff is, even coming in on a Saturday and teaching from 8 o'clock in the morning till noon. And some of them are doing it almost just to receive comp time or nothing at all. So that is our path. But aside from the physical support, we have been looking at all different types of passages, teaching the kids strategies. And these are things that we have been planning during professional learning communities, just really being data driven, looking to see where the weaknesses are so that we can hone in and really focus on where it is that the needs are so we can build from there.
Awesome.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
I had some time. I spent some time
Yes.
with you and Erica Whitfield and your wonderful staff. And I just want to say you're fabulous. You know, the things I saw going on. There was something, and I forgot what you called it, but where you jumped from class to class and some of the students got, special time because they needed a little bit more help with things.
So it's III, and it's like an intensive intervention time. And so we cluster the kids based on where their areas of needs are. And at that time, I have all of my fine arts teachers, which is what you had observed. So the music teacher, the PE teacher, the art teacher, all the ESOL teachers, everybody is in a classroom providing support for the kids. So it's
And-
really all hands on deck.
Absolutely, and everybody was happy. The students were happy. They played for us. It was just a great experience. And I think back when I went to school, how great would that be if I had that experience? And I've been working with Bridges at Highlands and different organizations for years, and they do a phenomenal job. But what I saw there with you and your staff was just truly exceptional.
Thank you.
And what you were doing for the kids. And
Appreciate that.
I like the idea when Commissioner Hardy asked you how you're going to get to a B. You went right by the B and you told him how you're going to get to an A.
Yes,
And
that is our goal.
That's what we need,
Yes.
and that's the fabulous part of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Robinson?
The energy, the enthusiasm, the partnerships that you've developed, the fact that you've got staff here that is proud of what they do, that you've generated, thank you. And you can do that,
We will.
I'm going to be there to celebrate with you.
Absolutely.
Before that, too. Well, it's
Yes.
just that you can say it, you can put it into motion, and you guys are doing it. And I also have the opportunity to be there and to hear the kids play instruments and see them in the breakout groups and read and do all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
I don't know, it just captures, I always think of us at Lake Worth Beach, as as underdogs, and that's how I felt when I went in there, and then to see everyone performing above and beyond was just really incredible, and that's how you get to an A. So I'm looking forward to it,
Thank you.
and thank you very much for your presentation.
My pleasure.
It's a happy school.
It is.
Yes.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to, this was added from the additions, deletions, reordering, 5A designate appointments, the vice mayor and the vice mayor pro tem. I will entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Hardy?
I hope that the gentleman will receive my nomination, but I would like to nominate Commissioner Herman Robinson, who's been the chair of the Lake Worth Historic Resources Preservation Board, who is now a two-term commissioner. I would like to nominate him as vice mayor.
Okay, do I have a second? Motion fails for lack of a second.
Thank you.
Do I have any other, sorry. Do I have any other motions?
I make a motion to continue our assignments as exist.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
May I make a comment?
Yes.
I wouldn't mind relinquishing Vice Mayor Pro Tem to Commissioner Robinson. I wouldn't mind doing that if he wouldn't, if they would accept it.
I'm sorry. No, I think experience counts, and you've certainly got a lot of experience in government.
All right, thank you.
And I appreciate your offering that, though. That was awesome.
Likewise.
Thank you. We've got a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to the various organizational appointments. Does anyone have any changes that they would like to see in reference to their representation? Then I would ask if we could, if everyone is okay with their current positions, if we could make a motion for all of the, is that permissible?
Absolutely.
Okay. The positions are Metropolitan Planning Organization Liaison. I have that honor. Palm Beach County, now it's, yeah, that's right. It's the Transportation Planning, TPA. Now, Palm Beach County League of Cities Liaison.
That's me.
And Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council.
I sit on
Commissioner
that board.
Hardy. Florida Municipal Power Agency Liaison.
Commissioner Maxwell.
Commissioner Maxwell. Downtown Cultural Alliance, Vice Mayor. Community Redevelopment Agency Liaison, Vice Mayor. Neighbor Association President's Council, Commissioner Robinson?
With pleasure.
Okay, good. Then I'll entertain a motion to accept all the positions resumed. Vice Mayor Pro Tem,
Seconded.
seconded by Commissioner Hardy. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I really do appreciate that. Moving on to Commission Liaison reports and comments. Commissioner Robinson, why don't you start the ball rolling?
This is the beginning of a 3-year term for me, and I'm looking forward to an exciting start with decisions, difficult as they may be, must be made, and the agenda is going to be full and progressive in moving our Lake Worth Beach forward. I want to commend the Leisure Services Department for all the activities they provide for the city. Jaguars had an awards event at the casino. Pride Parade was fantastic. College Park's turnout of neighborhood meetings is growing each meeting. Floffing was successful. Recreation Department or Leisure Services is again working on a survey, and because of the internet issues, I would hope that we're able to let Leisure Services know all the good and possibilities that they have. That's it. I'm looking forward to our team of 5 commissioners exchanging ideas, working together. Knowing, I know in my heart that each and every one of you have the absolute best interest of Lake Worth and at heart, and we're going to disagree, and that's not a bad thing. And if we can come to agreement on our different approaches, that's going to be a great thing for Lake Worth. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
So Pride, 31 years of Compass, 50 years of Pride. I want to thank everyone for coming out and supporting huge numbers this year. It was a great time, and we got to sing happy birthday to the mayor from stage, so that was great. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I want to thank the nominating committee for the Palm Beach County League of Cities for nominating me second vice president this year. So thank you to the Palm Beach County League of Cities and the nominating committee. Vice Mayor Pro Tem Maxwell, I know you sat on that committee. Thank you. Tallahassee. We've been spending some time in Tallahassee at session. We've got some asks that we've been trying to get, but I also sit on the board for the Florida League of Cities, so we were there with our board meetings, and there were asks there for the Florida League that crosses over all our cities. Again, it's home rule. Protect local voices and local choices. We totally feel that each city is unique to itself, and we should be making those decisions for ourselves, not Tallahassee or Washington, where they paint us with a broad brush. So I have the actual legislation asks here, and we'll pass them down in case you didn't get to see them, and I have more for the public if anybody wants them. Every year changes, but most of them are all home rule, which brings it back to your voice here on a local level. Couple different things. 2020 census. You're going to hear it from me. You'll hear it from the mayor on a regular basis. Mayor, I apologize for bringing my phone, but I want to thank Lauren and her staff and Ben. Fabulous kickoff. You need to go to the Lake Worth Beach website, and it says Lake Worth Beach Census 2020, and you'll see it has tentacles and claws and a turtle's flipper, and I'm gonna have to put my glasses on, but it actually says raise your hooks, flippers, claws, and tentacles and be counted for the 2020 census. Fabulous marketing. I ask that you go and you like the page and share it, and we have to start now for the 2020 census. Everybody in the city needs to be counted. Real quick, I know, City Manager, you're going to talk about the website, but the website is very concerning to all of us up here that it is down. It's not unique to us. We met with the tax collector, Ann Gannon. She says she's having issues. Half of her website's down. I talked to the mayor in Wellington today. Half of her website is down, and she said most of it won't even be coming back up because of the issues. And there are people going down the coast and suing cities. And we heard about this through the Palm Beach County League of Cities about a year ago. And you know, the first thing they recommended was that we would put something on our website that said, if you are disabled in any form, you know, please let us help you. We will get you any information you want. That is not enough. There are people going through, if you remember a couple years ago, people came through the city and sued local merchants for not having ADA accessible. The bars in their bathroom wasn't high enough. You know, we had merchants suffer through this. And on behalf of you, the taxpayer, we want to make sure that we're doing everything. It will take as long as we need, but we want to make sure that we're doing everything to save the city and the taxpayers money. So that's all I've got.
Thank you. Commissioner Hardy?
I will be brief. First thing is I went to College Park Neighborhood Association meeting yesterday and saw a wonderful presentation by Wes Blackman. I'm not sure if he's here today. He is here today on the history of the city, and in particular on the history of College Park. It was a wonderful, wonderful presentation. I learned a lot. It was very illuminating for me, and I thank him. And maybe one day he can give that presentation here in the chambers at some point. The other thing is, I also went to Tallahassee to try and do what many of you guys have been doing to add to the voices of people trying to bring our bacon back home. And one of the things I learned right before I went up there was that the list of water projects, and we had several water projects that we wanted to get, the list of water projects in the House of Representatives came out, and there was not a single project from Palm Beach County on that list. Now, let's just put that into perspective here, okay? Palm Beach County is a donor county. Okay, Palm Beach County will not ever get from the legislature the money that it sends to Tallahassee that then gets sent all sorts of other places that are not nearly as economically productive as South Florida. But that's the way that the legislature works, unfortunately. So we hope to get something out of there. I don't know what our chances are at this point. They were not good when I left as far as water project. We will
fighting.
continue to roll up our sleeves. Yes,
Still fighting.
we will continue to roll up our sleeves. There are several legislators here in Palm Beach County, who I spoke to who are already tapped out. They, went up there and the way things are up there, it's hard to get anything done if you're from Palm Beach County. And that's unfortunate because, the last time I checked, imagine the state of Florida without South Florida. I don't know how productive a state that would be. The other thing is, this morning I had the opportunity to participate in an event about home ownership, which is, by the way, at near record lows in the state of Florida. There are many, many reasons for that. I think there are a lot of people still dealing with the fallout from the housing crisis of 2008. There are lots of people in my age group, millennials who are college educated, who are earning money, but who, because of student loans and other issues. So it was very fun. I was tasked with moderating a discussion among people who are much smarter and knowledgeable than I am. Armando Fana from West Palm Beach, Jonathan Brown, Dodie Glass, and Kimberly Spence. These people forget more about housing on a daily basis than I could learn. So that was fun. The other thing is I'll also be participating in a symposium on fair and affordable housing on April 11th, which was going to be at the O Palm Beach. Always hard to pronounce that. The O Palm Beach at the O Palm Beach between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. The keynote speaker there is going to be a guy that you're used to seeing on CNN, Avery Friedman, and we're just going to get together those of us who and I don't work in affordable housing, but I think those of us who are electeds should always talk with people whose profession it is to do this, because sometimes we get in their way. And it's very interesting to see how they operate and what's on their mind. So I always like sitting with people who are smarter than me. That's really, really helpful to me learning. So we're about to go into, as Ms. Villani said, testing season. It really officially started today for all of our schools. Send thoughts, prayers, good wishes, good mojo to the kids who are taking the test. It's really interesting. And I had the experience of telling my kids this, and I was really thinking about this, right? So here in Lake Worth, we have an issue where sometimes people don't want to move into the city because of what they perceive to be the quality of the schools, right? And the quality of the schools in their perception is determined on the grade of the schools, and that's determined on the test scores of the kids, right? So when these kids walk into these schools all week for like the next few months, okay, all right, their whole community, think about what we're doing to these kids. Their whole community is going to go up or down on the basis of how kids in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and so on perform on a test. That's crazy. I don't know how it got to be that way, where we're determining the value of our communities based on the behavior of 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. But that's the way that we have it today, and that's unfortunate. But that's what they're dealing with. Let's send them some good thoughts. Let's send them some good prayers. Let's send them some support and encouragement. And let's hope that they do very well. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Pro-Tem.
Thank you. I'll keep mine brief. I'm not feeling very well. I hope I'm not going to make everybody up here ill.
You get us sick, you're in
What?
trouble.
What? It's fun being ill. I want to echo some of the comments that Commissioner Hardy had mentioned about Tallahassee. As they say, those 60 days a year in Tallahassee are the most dangerous 60 days in the state of Florida when session's in. And, I too was up there along with the city manager, and we were trying to nail down an appropriations bill for the SEMRAC program, project. I guess many of you have heard about that, the initiative with FAU, SEMRAC, Department of Energy, and the city of Lake Worth to harness the ocean current off of Lake Worth and show the world that you can generate electricity consistently, and in so much creating 500 jobs and creating mega millions of dollars worth of local economy impact. So we were up there and thought we had it pretty much handled. Well, let me go back a step. The original appropriations request was erroneously put into a water project as a water project. It really should have been classified more in a different way, whether energy or something else. But as Commissioner Hardy said, everybody and their brother's got a water project in Tallahassee. Right now, the funding is a little bit lean on that. We do expect the governor to open up the purse a little bit later in session and roll out some more money for water projects. But anyway, so we had to find a couple of different vehicles to get this done. We thought we had it handled. Went to bed thinking we had it handled. Got up the next morning and Tallahassee woke up and dealt us another dirty hand. So there we are, scrambling again, trying to find another way or two to get this done. So we're still working on that. I think we will get something out of it this year. I think that's the most important part. If we get something, then once Tallahassee's committed to something in a small way, they typically come back in the next session and follow it up because they want to make good on their initial investment. So we worked out very, very hard. And I'm very, very proud of the work that Mike Bornstein had done. And the mayor, I know she was up there a couple of times, and our lobbyist, Richard Pinsky. We're working it really, really hard. This project, ladies and gentlemen, I don't get excited about technology because I'm not a techie. But when you think about it, if we can pull this off, if they can harness the ocean's current off of Lake Worth Beach, we'll be the only place in the world that's doing that. And there will be companies from all over the world coming to Lake Worth to set up shop, to take part in that project. And that means huge, huge dividends for us. It means, lots and lots of jobs and lots of new income for our city. So very, very excited about that project. Pride Parade, okay. What did I ask you, city manager? Is this too much? I thought I was dressed appropriately. I didn't want to over accessorize.
You were very colorful in a big way.
I get a real kick out of it. Every year that parade gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I don't know how the heck they do it, but it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I had a really good time. And I hope those of you who attended also had a good time. And congratulations to those folks at Compass and everywhere else that put all that together. And Andy Amoroso, you were honored in a small way. Can we give Andy Amoroso, Commissioner Amoroso, 30 seconds to explain how he was honored? I'd like to hear more about that.
I was going to say something, but I won't. So
I was going to say it for you, so you didn't have to say anything.
Anyway, I had a great time, but take it away, Commissioner.
No, I'm going to let the mayor do it.
No, what was really cool about it at Pride Fest was they had they put out a call to artists. The Cultural Council actually put out a call to artists for Pride Fest, and Rolando Chamberero, who used to be here on Lucerne, who's now up in West Palm Beach, won. And he came and did murals of projects who were the founders of Compass.
Compass and the historians that came before.
And the historians that came before, and they did mural projects. So right up there on stage in the middle of Pride Fest was where all these people who historically helped put it together, and Andy was one of the faces up there that was depicted for starting this. And what I thought was really interesting, I heard a couple of conversations that afternoon, but one was from the gentleman who gets everyone going in the parade. What is Michael. So he's saying, I remember when we first started this parade, he goes, it was on J Street. And I would tell people to come meet us, and they would say, okay, J and what? And he'd go, it's on J Street, just J Street. and having it grow and to be that, it was a bigger crowd than ever. And it was a real beautiful day. And to Julie Seaver and all the staff at Compass, a very happy anniversary of 50 years. And to 50 times.
And I didn't know I was an elder until my picture was up there. And
don't-
I said, I guess I was there.
And don't you feel old? Speaking of elders, you had to rub it in that it was my birthday at Pride Fest, so I had 1,000+ people are singing happy birthday to me. That was fun. So thank you very much for all of that. What else has been going on too around? It's been so much happening with the elections and everything. TPA. Oh yeah, TPA. We've got a bunch of new projects coming in. Our city has applied for how many thousands of dollars? $5 million worth of projects through TPA. There's all sorts of political stuff going on, and the whole kickback is going back to the fact of whether or not the cities and towns across Palm Beach County are upset about the impact fees. We've had this discussion before too, and we're all paying into these impact fees, but yet they're not getting spent in all of our communities. So communities are starting to rise up and say, hey, if you're not going to spend it in our communities, why are we spending all this money and sending it all to you? You know, like you said, we were a donor city. We're a donor area of the state, whenever we pay our taxes to, and the dollars never get spent here. So there's a lot of, I'm hearing a lot of conversations about it, and there's going to be some pretty heated discussions about that. But we are up for projects. I want to thank staff for doing an exceptional job in getting that together, and we've got a lot of really good things happening. Also want to thank the folks we were out. Thank you, Commissioner Robinson, for being out at the ribbon cutting for the Hummingbird Hotel. Now a beautifully restored office suite building, and with the historical renovation on the outside, that was absolutely outstanding. Thank you for doing that. And then also, what am I missing? Anything, guys? No? All right, let's
You
get
mentioned it was your birthday.
Would you stop it? Enough my birthday. When you get up this high, you don't want to count them anymore. You just say, yay, I got another one. All right. Hip, hip, hooray. Okay. Public participation of non-agenda items and consent agenda items. Peggy Fisher, you are up first, followed by Charles Kincaid.
Peggy Fisher, 508 North A Street. I want to say congratulations to Herman on his winning the runoff that we spent a lot of time talking about. And that leads into, I'd like to ask all of you to put in place a charter review committee. We need a charter review committee, and it's something we've got 2 years before the next election. So we should be able to get together a committee, put it in place, and get some recommendations of things that need to go on the next ballot. That's to serve our city, Lake Worth Beach. So I think that needs to be done and needs to be discussed. Consent agenda. We seem to like loading consent agendas and having very little public new business to discuss. And all I'd ask on is, let's quit putting large dollar items on the consent agenda, and let's items that need to be discussed for information purposes to the public, because there may not be any backup available because of all the ADA issues, that it would be informative to the people who come to this room and sit here and listen. As informative as listening to all of you talk about the things you do for us, I think the things that you're voting on should be just as important, and you should inform us on those. And I know I'm one, as many people, based on social media, that were caught off guard by the Gone website. There wasn't a lot of communication. Great that there's a lot of branding and communication about the census. There wasn't a lot of communication about taking down the website. Well, there wasn't a lot of communication. We had a meeting in this room on March 19th. If we were going to take it down on the 1st, guess what? Prime opportunity to tell the public. There's got to be a better communication, more transparency to the public. That's a charge all of you for the next 2 years should do, because we don't seem to be doing a good job of that, in my personal one voter opinion. There's too much of tail wagging the dog, and it needs to be you all being in charge, you all being the top dog, and running this city like you were elected to. And finally, your little lights aren't ADA compliant, so I guess you won't be able to use them.
Charles Kincaid, followed by Mary Toy.
I'm here, I purchased my home over on South 8th Street about 3.5 years ago, and the street was nice, it was never a problem. It seems in the past year, it seems like now it's the new cut-through for all these semis and business trucks that are coming from Congress Avenue across to 6th Avenue. I live just south of 6th. Yesterday morning was probably the straw that broke the camel's back when I came over here and spoke with the clerk and stuff, and they told me what I had to do. I'm sitting in front of my house, and my house is right along the side, where the side street is, alongside the cemetery, on the north end of the cemetery. This 50-foot tractor trailer comes down that side street and tries to make the turn to go north on 8th Street, ran up and almost ran in on my lawn, and the back wheels of the truck ran over the sidewalk. Now, this is an area that there's 100 kids walking up and down that street every day. I mean, I think we have to figure out something to put like no through trucking or something on there. I mean, this morning alone, I sat on my porch, there was at least 25 landscaping trucks with trailers. There's not that many lawns in the area. And I'll be honest with you, if you sat there any morning between 7 and 9 o'clock in the morning, you would see it. It's just a horror with the amount of trucks going by. So, you know, if you can find your way, you know, to do something, I mean, it's going to be a lot safer. One of these kids is going to get run over one of these mornings. And I mean, you know, when I first moved here 3.5 years ago, it was fine. It was, you know, once in a while you'd see one there, like they'd be the boarding truck for the place down the block would be dropping off supplies, and that's about all you'd see. Now, it's absolutely absurd. There's got to be between 7 and 9, probably 24 semis. And they're cutting through the park, well, for Congress, and coming out by, and then going through so they don't have to fudge with all the lights and the trains and stuff. So I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. The other thing is, the road on Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday nights is a drag strip. I'd just like to approach it. This is a car that lost control over my truck in front of my house. Now, you know how fast that car had to be going to do that to a Bronco? My truck weighs 4,500 pounds. And I mean, it's garbage now. But I mean, you go down any Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, there's cars running up and down that street in excess of 60 miles an hour, and motorcycles. And I'm just here, like I said, to bring it to your attention, and, you know, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
a
City
good night.
Manager, would you please take note of that and also put this record on file? That's the area that I've been talking about for the
You know,
longest
and
time
if
on
I
South.
can do anything to help, I'd be more than
We'll
happy.
be in touch. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Mary Toy, followed by Tammy Panza.
Hi, wanted to comment on the website too. I found out on Facebook.
I'm sorry, could you just state your address?
Oh,
for the
Mary
record?
Toy, 1820 North Keg.
Thanks.
I found out on Facebook, and the way I found out on Facebook was by Mary saying something about ADA compliance. That's all I got. That's all the notice I got. And I looked, and it's like, okay, it's gone. So today, I thought the commission meeting was today. I read about it in the Post, and it said call to get the agenda. No number. So I started looking on the internet. There's no numbers on the website anymore. I got your personal number from somebody. I called some number. I got your personal phone number, but I couldn't get a number to call the city. It's not on the website. And the phone numbers, if you just look up Lake Worth, they go to you. You didn't answer the phone. So, I mean, there was no, can't you at least put some email addresses and some phone numbers from the departments and your guys? And could we sign up for stuff for email? Like, can I tell you I'd like the agenda and the minutes sent to me by email? I mean, it seems silly to have 100 people calling up every Tuesday to say, I'd like to have this information. So,
I'm gonna actually, I've asked the city manager, if he could include in the city manager's report at the end of the meeting to do a full, briefing of everybody on the website and what's gonna happen and what's gonna.
'Cause
You're prepared to do that, city manager?
we
Okay.
get those emails that tell us about all these events that are coming up. Why can't substantive information be included in an email like that? You already have our email addresses. I get those emails, but I never get notices of anything substantive for the city. And that kind of goes back to the transparency thing. It just makes me feel like you don't really care if I know. And I'm sure that a lot of I get all the information I get from about what you guys do from coming to these meetings or on Facebook. And that shouldn't be that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Tammy Panza, followed by Susan Ona.
Hi, Tammy Panza, 160 North L. I'm here to basically complain about the website. I think you guys did a dirty to the rest of the city by taking it down without even notice. I know that you have ADA requirements, but basically nothing is ADA compliant, and everybody wants to get the agenda. I've requested to be put on the list to get the agenda for all the city meetings. They sent me a list and said, oh, the agenda's too big. And I said, well, if you know print to PDF, you can save it in a couple portions. And I explained to them that's how they could do it. So they did send it to me, and I'm pleased to say that I got that agenda. It came up today, the question, okay, I need to check the calendars. There's a CRA meeting this week or something. I haven't looked at it. It's not Wednesday yet. So, but some of this stuff, no matter how ADA you try to make it, no matter how compliant you be, you're always going to piss off someone. And in trying to follow the law for someone, you're not following the law for everybody else. We have the right to know. We have the right to see the backup. We shouldn't have to walk into City Hall an hour before the last meeting to get the agenda, to have the person sitting at the front desk not know what I'm talking about, to have it not posted where the agenda is normally posted, to have them say, okay, it's posted in the city commission's office, which is locked and we don't have access to. Okay, now you have to go down to the city clerk's office, which is down some stairs. I said, that's really ADA compliant. Oh, there's an elevator. There's an elevator here? Okay. And then go down and see a 1,000-page document. And then, only then you say, oh, well, give me a flash drive, I'll just give it to you. And I'm like, if it can go on a flash drive, it can go on a PDF that can be sent to people. If it's too big, then put it in a smaller portion and send it in portions. You can put it on a cloud, you can put it on Dropbox, you can put it on Google Calendar, you can have your calendar out there. There's ways to do this to still keep everybody else informed, as well as dealing with the fact that you're taking 2 months to make a city website, which that shouldn't happen. But there's ways to keep everybody informed, because in making the ADA people happy, you are not making everybody else happy. So please get this sorted. Please be more helpful about getting these items out. We want to see the agenda. It's hard enough dealing with the regular agendas where we have all of the stuff stuck on consent agenda. We're selling properties on the consent agenda. The CRA is selling properties on their consent agenda. They have 5-minute meetings. We can't get to them. You know, they're over before we even walk in. And now we don't have any notice. We don't have any agenda. We don't have any calendar. Oh, it's not ADA compliant. It just seems this big hidden thing. So please get this sorted. And I don't want to see the city website down till June. That's just really silly. At least get the basics up in a skeleton on another link and get something out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan Ona?
Good evening. My name is Susan Ona. I live at 826 North Palmway. And I wanted to say congratulations to Commissioner Robinson and thank you thank you to all of the community voters in Lake Worth who came out to the runoff and made it happen. Now we look forward to moving ahead on many important issues for the city, and in particular, the revitalization of the casino complex and the pool. We have many supporters out there who are ready to work and help you in guiding you, and we look to the commission now to give direction in this regard to the staff and to the city manager with all deliberate speed. Thank you very much. And I wasn't planning on speaking about the website, not realizing it was ADA. And I say now, perhaps being one of the co-directors of the Visitor Center, we can be helpful to the city to spread information. And so we would look forward to working with you and doing something, having copies of whatever you need, and you can consult with us or ask us for anything, and we'll be glad to help you. And we're down there at the City Hall Annex, which has the second floor museum, and perhaps we may need to do something about the elevator after all.
Yeah.
Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your very thoughtful comments. All right, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
Can I assume it's Richard Garcia? State your address, please, for the record.
Madam Mayor, Richard Garcia, 720 South Palm Way. I wanted to congratulate Commissioner Robinson on his victory. Couldn't get my butt kicked by a nicer guy. Seriously. But I really wanted to, but he's not here. He walked out of the room. I wanted to congratulate Captain Bear for his graduating from Quantico for his 10-week course. Done a great job. He should get himself back in here and receive his applause, but that's really what I wanted to come up here to say. And congratulations to him. I know it was a grueling time. He says he's lost a lot of weight. He actually looks a little bit smaller than when he left us. So congratulations to him, and I know he's going to bring great things to the city with what he's learned.
Thank you. All right. Approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to our public hearing. Item 10A, City Attorney, would you read the ordinance, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, ordinance number 2019-04 of the City of Lake Worth, Florida, amending Chapter 23 Land Development Regulations by amending Article 1, General Provisions relating to Division 2, Section 23.1-12, Definitions by amending Article 6, Environmental Regulations, Section 23.6-1, Landscape Regulations, and for other purposes, and providing for severability, the repeal of laws in conflict, codification, and an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded.
And this is the second reading, we don't have another presentation on this. This is all the items that we discussed from the previous meeting. Does anyone have any further comments on that? Seeing there are none, are there any public comment cards?
No, Madam Mayor.
Seeing there are none, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We're moving on to the Lake Worth Electric Utility. Approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion. Moved by the Vice Mayor Pro-Tem. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Vice Mayor. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Is there an update for today on the electric utility? Okay, then the consent agenda, I'll entertain a motion.
Ed is not, he told me he had.
Quiet on the dais.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Never mind, I apologize. Okay.
Mr. Liberty, paging Mr. Liberty.
Okay, that's fine.
Consent agenda, we've got a motion.
So moved. Still second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hardy. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We are moving on to new business now. This is E1, work order number 1 with Ellie Myers Company for Electric Utility Construction Services for Phase 1 of the, what is that, 1W13 or is that LW13?
No, one.
1W13 distribution circuit. Did you want to give us an update?
I actually have a presentation.
I would like to see it. Thank you. Okay.
Lakewood Beach.
Like your snazzy little logo.
Shocking.
Shocking.
It's a bolt out of the blue. Slideshow.
Right there by minus.
It's origami.
So it looks like.
Look at the City of Lake Worth Commission. He left the beach out there.
Madam Mayor and Commissioners, Honorable Commissioners, Walt Gill, Assistant Director of Transmission Distribution, City of Lake Worth Beach Electric. So the West 13, the 26B1 West 13 feeds the area just west of I-95, as indicated in the map right here.
From where to where, Walt? I couldn't tell. I'm sorry, I couldn't see the.
You can't see where 95 is.
I can't see this northern or southernmost point there. Sorry.
All right, so this is a northern point, or excuse me, western point?
The map is sideways.
Yes, the map is the map is sideways right now, so I can get it onto you.
Where's
North
6?
is to the right. North is here to the right.
Okay.
Oh, you all can't see that because I got the pointer over here, so you can't see it. So to the right is north. Up top is to the west. So 95 is towards the bottom of the map page.
Okay.
Okay.
No, this is our service area that's outside of city limits?
It is yes, this is just outside the city limits.
That's what I'm, okay, just trying to get a.
Yep.
Okay, so this is between 10th Avenue North and 6th Avenue South, west of Boutwell, between Boutwell and Congress.
Correct.
Yeah.
Got
That's
it?
correct.
Okay, for those who can't see. You got it.
Sorry about that. So a high-level overview of the work to be accomplished in Phase 1, 26B1 West 13 was ranked #1 in our PPC Porous Performance Circuit Study. The circuit serves approximately 1,600 customers, including the Walmart Supercenter on 10th Avenue North. Phase 1 focuses primarily on the primary conductor, which is how we get all the power out to the individual laterals down to your house. Phase 2 is at a 90% design. As soon as Phase 2 design is complete, we'll bring that back for construction as well, and then we'll move into Phase 3 design, and both Phase 2 and 3 focus on the individual laterals down into the houses. The circuit will be hardened to withstand 145-mile-an-hour winds. We are on this Phase 1 part of the project, 127 poles and all associated pole line hardware will be replaced. All porcelain insulators will be replaced with larger polymer insulators and steel brackets removed, being replaced with fiberglass standoffs. Except in places where needed, we'll be redesigning from horizontal construction to vertical construction, thus reducing the loading on the poles themselves and allowing for proper conductor spacing with a cleaner look of the system as well.
Okay.
And this is going to be the plan for the entire service territory throughout every single circuit that we're going to touch.
Okay.
Okay. So this is actually a picture of where we're going to be working at on the West 13. Phase 1 is actually divided into 13 different work sections throughout the entire circuit territory. Excuse me. Pole counts by class and work section. Like I said, we're going to be replacing 127 poles. The table on the left-hand side is the types of poles that we'll be installing. And then the table on the right is a breakdown of each work section, how many poles and what type are going into each work section. And I'll open up the floor for any comments, questions.
I know that that's been a problematic area for us, so there's work that needs to get done.
It's a problem. It's our worst performance circuit, and it's actually a circuit that allows us to do a lot of switching opportunities between the city and the Western Territories, allowing us to go back and forth with how we feed the system around.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
Madam Mayor, I don't think there's been a motion made on this item yet.
So moved.
Seconded.
No.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I thought we had it at the very beginning. Okay, we've got a motion?
Yep.
And a second?
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Vice Mayor?
My question was, how long is this project gonna take, the time span?
The entire project,
Well,
or
this
just
is
the
Phase 1 of how many?
this circuit is going to require 3 phases on it.
Okay.
This phase is approximately scheduled for 90 to 120 days from start to completion, from once the boots hit the ground and we start laying poles in the ground.
And once this is completed, you come back with
With phase 2, yeah. I'm trying I'm trying to plan it to where phase 2 is completed. Phase 2 design is completed just as they're finishing up on phase 1, so I can just keep them rolling right into the next part of the project.
Okay. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Pro Tem?
Thanks. Just out of curiosity, you used 145 mile an hour figure as far as being hardened to 145. What's the category? That's a category.
It's a strong category 4, low Cat 5.
My question is, would there be much more cost involved to hardening it to withstand, say 175?
Tremendous cost will be
There is
involved.
significant
There is
cost.
significant. Every category that you increases the cost of the overall
Seems to me
project.
the cost would actually be diminishing as you increased.
Because they're stronger, stouter poles. Each class, every class of pole is a stronger, stouter pole, and they cost more money as you start stouting up the
Thank
system.
Well, just to follow up with that, where are we in the class of that type of pole with, say, our peers in other areas? What we're putting up, is it stronger? Because I don't think they have a higher class of poles. In fact,
I
think they
believe
have a
our
lesser.
construction standards are consistent with what the others
They
are doing.
Okay.
I'll also mention that in not all cases do you need to go to a larger pole. You have to take a look at the loads on a case by case, on a pole by pole basis, and then design the appropriate pole for that strength. So in some cases, if you tried to go up much higher, you'd be getting into something that's just massively large in diameter, or requiring a lot more guy wires. So we're very mindful of that. One of the big things that Walt indicated was going from the horizontal construction, which is the cross arm construction, to a vertical construction where the insulators are mounted vertically along the edge of the pole. So that reduces the windage, allows us to get the same amount of strength, if you will, from a pole, from a smaller pole,
And a cleaner look.
and a cleaner look as well. Exactly.
We have to get you one of those sketch pads so I can see your drawings on it. They're
Yeah.
so much easier. You ever seen his drawings on things? They're really, really good.
But by the way, Ed Liberty, Director of Electric Utility, here to support Walt on this. Walt has been tasked with this project, which is to rebuild this system to essentially Category 5.
Gotcha. We do have a public comment card from Peggy Fisher.
Peggy Fisher, 508 North A Street. Just some questions as a member of the public that I thought maybe some of you might have asked, so we would be informed. What's the total amount of this project? I haven't heard a number for all the phases of this one circuit. You did ask for a time frame, the total time frame, but I never heard an answer of time frame to complete all the phases of this one circuit. How many customers on this one circuit are within the city limits of Lake Worth? Which I believe the answer is none, but I think you should be informing the public and not have them thinking that you're doing a vast improvement when they're not going to, the residents within this 7-mile entity of Lake Worth Beach are going to get any. So I think that would have been a good question for you all to be asking. Where is the money for all this coming from? If this is one circuit, once we get a total amount, and how many other circuits, since there are other circuits that maybe benefit and need to be similarly hardened within the city limits, how many other circuits need to be done, and what's the total cost of all those? I think those are questions that as members of the public, they'd like to hear you all asking in the public so that that information can be shared with the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we had a presentation on all of the circuits and the amount of customers that it will provide, and we also had a discussion last time around that to say that this one circuit doesn't represent the actual citizens of Lake Worth when our business model is to provide services that help support our services as a business of providing electricity to other people. We shouldn't say that one is neither more important than the other. Right. So, I mean, that was part of our discussion the last time around. We did have a breakdown of the number of people that were affected by it and the different circuits and where the funding was coming from. But if you wanted to add anything.
Yes, Ed Liberty, Director of Electric Utility. We did go through that in detail at the last meeting where we provided a schedule for every single circuit, when the work would start, when it would end, what the cost per circuit was, what the cost per customer was, and what the customers could expect. It was also a ranking starting with the worst performing circuit, regardless of location, within the electric service territory, working all the way down to the best performing circuit. In terms of the funding, the projects are being funded on a year-by-year basis out of the capital budget of the utility for that particular year. So we're smoothing the projects out to match our ability to maintain our debt coverage ratios without increasing our rates to our customers, at the same time rebuilding our bond, or rather our fund balance from the dip that we experienced last year. So the projects are being sequenced so they can be financed correctly.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Are the people that we're actually upgrading and giving better service to actually paying into this fund?
Yes, they are. All electric utility customers, regardless of location in the city, are paying into the fund. A portion of the revenues that we achieve go to support the fund.
Thank you.
As well as to support other city activities as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hardy?
I was just going to ask, how do you finance your CapEx? It's not all through what, I don't want to say retained earnings, but it's not all from operations cash flow. Some of it's been borrowed.
To the extent that we have any equity, if you will, it was borrowed money. There was a bond fund that was created many years ago, and at one point was converted over to a Bank of America loan fund that had approximately $14 or $15 million up about a year ago. I don't have today's balance, but we're working off of that balance. So our capital projects are funded out of that dollar amount. When we exceed that amount, we also have available to us our fund balance. Now, our fund balance has gone below, as we know last year in the Stantec modeling, we show it that the fund balance went below the desired minimum. However, we're in the process of rebuilding that fund balance. Going forward into the future, we'll be looking at what financing needs we'll have in excess of the internally generated fund balance that we can create on our own from things that we've done to reduce our costs, for example, in renegotiating power contracts and things like that.
Yeah, and just my last little comment. In the last meeting we had where we received a presentation about this, I did ask a question about circuits that were within the city limits versus circuits that were outside of the city limits, and as to whether or not we would prioritize circuits that were within the city limits. And we had a conversation about first of all wanting to serve all ratepayers, whether or not they lived within the city limits or not. And then we also had a conversation, which is the part that really convinced me, frankly, which is some of these circuits that are outside of the city limits affect our ability to deliver power within the city limits because of the way that we use those circuits. That, for me, was the convincing factor, not the fact that we're trying to serve all ratepayers. I get that there are ratepayers outside of the city. I still think ours are more important. But the fact that ours depend on some of the things that happen outside was a convincing factor for me. I thank Ms. Fisher for asking us to ask those questions in public. I recognize that we did have an extensive presentation about that that was very rich with data, but it never hurts to recap those things in the eye of the public, because some people who might be at a meeting today might not have been at a meeting 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, or 2 months ago, for that matter. So I appreciate her asking those questions, and I look forward to this project. This is a project, frankly, that when you go around and you're knocking on doors, as Commissioner Robinson and I just recently did, we hear a lot about reliability at this point, right? Because we've done a lot, well, you guys have done a lot before I got here, and we finished up after I got here, getting rates to be competitive, and people are actually noticing that. And what they have left, the remaining complaint, is reliability, and this is going towards that. I look forward to finishing all these circuits. I understand that we're going to have to, get our money right, as some people say, going forward. But this is one of the most important things we could do to make the electric utility really into a truly phenomenal asset. So I appreciate the work that you two have been doing. I appreciate the work that our linemen are doing and our contractors are doing. And I appreciate the work that people who are in the public who have been serving and advising us for a long time on the Electric Utility Advisory Board are doing. I just want to say the EUAB is meeting in April.
Yes.
Fantastic. I appreciate that, and I look forward to continued citizen input.
And just to clarify, the reason I said that it was in the previous meeting was it was posed that this commission didn't ask questions at all. And I just wanted to say that it wasn't that we didn't ask the questions, those answers were already provided for us in the presentation. So that was my point in clarifying. Okay, well, we've got, do we have a motion on this? Motion and a second. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. City Attorney, did you have a report?
Only briefly on that ADA issue, just so the public's aware, the city did not receive any notice that there was a potential ADA lawsuit until March 27th. So it was.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again,
Sorry.
please? Quiet in the chambers.
The city
Your,
first.
your microphone is very light. Go ahead.
How's that?
Better.
Okay. The city only received notice about a potential ADA lawsuit on March 27th, which was why there was no previous notice. And we deemed it best to kind of shut down that site as soon as possible, because the gentleman who made the request, who from all accounts is, has a disability, he and his lawyer have filed 71 lawsuits already in the state of Florida against other cities. So we were clearly at risk of a lawsuit happening, and at that point, it would have been shut down anyway, and would have to pay legal fees dealing with that lawsuit. So that's why the decision was made to shut it down. The city was already in the process of proactively trying to create a new website that's hopefully going to be available by June anyway. Unfortunately, this gentleman filed his request about 2 months before our website was ready to go live. So that's the reason for the quick action.
Thank you very much. City Manager, did you want to ask
a question?
Sure. Commissioner Hardy?
Mr. City Attorney, I understand that there are some laws that govern how we make information available to the public. Are we in compliance with those laws, with the website that we have right now?
I believe that we are.
Okay. May I ask, now you've been in the game for a long time, working with local governments. Before cities were using the internet, okay, how did cities make information available to the public, and how did the public access this information?
Well, remember, I'm still young. Maybe been in the game a long time. That's a relative term, exactly. But of course,
what I mean is that you're well seasoned.
Yeah, thank you.
But we have
You're
someone.
well
We
seasoned.
have someone sitting right here that could answer those questions.
But it's true. I mean, obviously the world is different than it was 20, 15, 10, even 5 years ago, and very few cities, say 10 years ago, had any websites or much electronic communication. So, Lake Worth has been on the forefront of communicating with its residents among all cities. And
We barely had a site and just an audio recording 7 years
Exactly.
ago.
So the city's come a long way, and all cities, not just Lake Worth. I mean, Lake Worth to me has been one of the leaders, but there are tons of cities, and you don't have 71 lawsuits just in the state of Florida by one plaintiff. And there's other plaintiffs and other lawyers filing lawsuits nationwide. So this is a hot topic everywhere, trying to bring these into compliance. And so we continue to, and the clerk's office has been doing tremendous work. We're trying to get the information out to the public, whether it's posting, and people, it's inconvenient, of course, to have to read the old-fashioned way, although I still like a book, rather than scrolling on your laptop or your computer. But unfortunately, for the next couple of months, unless the city wants to say, okay, we'll roll over and have the lawsuit and then be shut down anyway, that's really the safest course.
And if I may ask one more question?
Yeah, sure. And I just want to say, just for the record too, I'm foregoing the traditional agenda item here to allow commissioner comments for the report section. Just because
I'm just
that
asking
normally doesn't-
questions.
Normally it doesn't. Reports are just reports. But go ahead.
Of the clerk, how many meetings do we have between now and June 1st, where our website will be?
I would suspect that we've got about 7.
Got about 7. Okay. All right. That's it.
Vice Mayor Pro-Tem?
Thank you. I continue to be concerned about some of the comments about transparency. I would like to ask the city manager, are we in a position to reinstitute, did there used to be a citizen academy or something that we could invite folks to come in and learn about how city government works? Because my understanding is we are certainly in compliance with 119, state statute 119, records retention, and all that goes with that. Now, I agree that there are some people that have greater appetites, would like to dig in a little bit deeper and have more information, and that's certainly welcome. But to hear folks, sometimes it just seems like that we're the bad guys, that we're not putting out information, we're withholding information, which is not the case at all. We are certainly in compliance with all state laws with respect to records and transparency and notices and things like that. Is there some way we can come up, reinstitute or look at maybe a citizen academy so folks who are interested in how government works, local government works, get involved, so some of these concerns that they have that they're expressing may be addressed in the context of those types of classes?
Well, the Citizen Academy has been something we've talked about for a while. There used to be one here.
More than 10.
Yeah, it's
More
been
than 10
a
years,
15 years ago,
A long
10,
time
15
ago.
years ago. And a lot of times those are intended to teach people about what we're doing, the governmental process, and also to help people who maybe want to serve on a board and do things in the city to get their footing, because governmental activities are very different from business. So yeah, it's something we've talked about. We haven't had the resourcing line up just yet to pull that off, because it would take staff and our time to fit that class into our schedule, but it's something we'd like to do. Yes, sir.
It's disheartening sometimes. I know staff works really hard. We're all doing our best. I guess you could always say there's room for improvement.
I
When
wouldn't
folks
say that
come up
most of the
and say, "Hey,
complaints
guys,
you're
you're not being
getting from the
transparent,"
people that are complaining, it's more an issue of transparency for convenience to get at records in a more modern sense. A lot of them know how the governmental process works. They want to have access, and that's a little bit different than someone who's uninitiated to the governmental process. There's two different things going on there.
All right, thanks.
Vice Mayor?
It's a little concerning to me that quite a few of the people that asked the questions, they knew we were going to have this conversation and they've already left. I see Marshall still here filming and Wes Blackman still here. So I trust that you will get this information out, that we've had this conversation and exactly what we're talking about here. City Attorney, another thing had come up, and I've gotten a couple different answers, so I want some clarity if you can give it to us. People have asked, can we email it to them? If we're emailing it to them, we're still not ADA. If I ask and I know that I'm not handicapped, can you send me the backup with everything? Or is it, you can't do for me if you don't do it for everybody else? How is that? Because it's still concerning to me that you can't send an email because it's not going to be ADA compatible.
Yeah, I
with
mean,
the backup.
I really haven't thought about that issue. I mean, theoretically, you'd want to be able to send emails to those that requested it. However, if someone is disabled and they say, I'd like it requested in a certain format. So I'm not sure what our capabilities are of emailing in an accessible format. I've never researched that issue. I can look at that. And
Because that's going to be another issue if, as this grows and they're looking at different pieces. Again, I want to try to get the information out, but it's our charge to make sure that, and it
gets out in a format that everyone can have access to it. That's the challenge.
City Manager, do you want to say?
Are you ready for me to?
Sure. Well, no, I just say it's just very disheartening to me because, we're sitting here trying to put together things. We're more transparent and more compliant than we've ever been before in a million trillion years. We've got every access. You couldn't even access our budgets in the past. You couldn't have calculators to figure out what your taxes are going to be. I mean, we've spent money and created widgets just so that you could access things from every type of computer, every type of operating system, from every type of thing that's ADA compliant, closed captioned. We put cameras in here. We've spared no expense to try to do and take what was very antiquated and bring it to modern day standards to do it. And I feel very angry about, this is the same thing that happened with the ADA compliance in the businesses downtown. They went in, they got lawsuit happy, they went in and they shut down good, honest business people trying to make a buck and threatened them all so that they all had to come up basically with $10,000 apiece. And that's what these mom and pop owners had to do throughout the city, come up with 10 grand plus a piece to hire lawyers and defend them in this because the toilet paper thing was a half an inch, an eighth of an inch below whatever, and they came in and they cited them. This is no joke.
It's legal extortion.
It is extortion in my book, and it is, it's a legal extortion. But it's just, it pisses me off. I'm sorry. And then this is exactly what we're faced with now. And we have our own people saying that we're not being transparent about stuff and they can't get the access to the information when we're trying to be more clear than ever. And these are the types of things that don't make me very happy as a person and as a citizen of this community, let alone a mayor of this community.
So if I could, Madam Mayor and Commission, if I could ask staff to bring up the current web page that we have. We took our website down understanding that we needed to put some things up there because not everything that was transactional
And there's a phone number.
on our website. Well, that's the first thing I was going to point out. There's the basic information to get a hold of the city. And again, this is not a desirable page for us. This is not what we would choose to do, but it was something we tried to put up and pull together to meet the needs of the public that may want to know, hey, there might be a meeting going on, or what's a phone number. And there are several things that we've loaded on here that are indeed certified ADA compliant. By far and away, the most transactional thing that happens on our website, it's not people looking for the agenda, believe it or not, it's paying their bills. And that is ADA compliant. And that was one of the first things we made sure that was back up as soon as possible and up and running. And as things come on and as we fix things like building permits and those kinds of other things where people are truly wanting to do something with the city, and I was talking to IT, or Lee Minke, our IT director, and I was lamenting this predicament that we were in, because it's not a position we want to be in. We don't want to be doing it this way. And he says, well, we can just, people have to understand, while we're in this process of building the new website and trying to put things up with it, you need to use the sneaker net. And I'm going, sneaker net, what is that? He says, you put your tennis shoes on, you go down to the office and get the paper. That's old fashioned, but I did the same thing. But it's the most prudent, non-libelous way for us to transact business and not run afoul of this threat that we've received on ADA. And it's unfortunate. We'll get through it. In a few months, it'll be a forgotten memory. I apologize for people who are trying to get at agendas. They would like the convenience of being able to pull it up. We're doing the best we can.
People filing permits too. They're used to pulling those permits online too and do it.
That's hugely important as well. And those transactional things people expect the city to have up and running and easy to use and industry standard. So we're doing our best to try to take care of all these various things. Someone who got up and spoke and said they were going to bring a thumb drive. Do not bring a thumb drive and expect us to put it in our computer. I don't know who told staff-wise. We are not accepting thumb drives for any kind of backup. So
can you explain why?
Because thumb drives,
not everybody knows. That's why I just want you to.
I call it the E-clap. You don't want to catch. You don't want to catch a virus from a dirty thumb drive.
Rephrase that, please. Rephrase that.
There's biological comparisons to computers. We do it all the time. It's a virus. So we don't know what's on your thumb drive. So keep it out of our computers.
Point of order, city manager.
but everybody should understand that's basic computers.
I never know what people will or won't, and
sending large data files of huge, not only for the ADA questions, but that's a huge thing that is hard to push over the internet into people's email boxes in 3 and 4 bytes. We're even grappling with how to take the backup in contracts that we receive from vendors that aren't in ADA compliant format. What are we going to do with that? I can't, even with that in the backup, I can't put that on the website because that document from that vendor or that other entity. So it's still got to be in hard copy, and they're only going to get the agenda at a high level. This is not oh, there goes the city again. Gotcha.
I know, but
please.
I know.
So
and let me add one other thing, Mike. When you're on a nice highway and it's bumpy and the potholes and you're like, boy, I want this highway fixed, and then the crews go out there to fix the highway. Nobody's happy for those months while you're taking a detour on back roads because the highway's under construction. This is no different. This highway is under construction and there's a bumpy way. You can still get most of what you need.
Sure, use a pothole analogy in Lake Worth. Okay.
But this is the city with less and less potholes every day.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So at the end of the day, we are working towards a solution. We are trying our best to stay out of court. And I don't want to also be dismissive of what we're trying to do here, because everybody's in the same boat, all the governmental entities, not just cities. But there are genuinely going to be folks who are visually challenged and they have conditions that they deserve the same kind of accessibility, which is the intent of this process.
Correct.
So there are genuinely going to be those folks out there that may want to and live in a community, legitimately live in a community, that want to participate And you know what? We're going towards.
But you know what, City Manager?
Yeah.
That's what we were doing. I just want to.
Right.
I want to preface that. That's what
We
we
are.
were doing already on our own.
Exactly.
To be up by June before this other thing was started.
And
So I just wanted. There
you
are
know,
two separate things working.
We don't want to
here.
throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Thank
It is frustrating that 99% of the people are being, put out, but we're trying our best to get to that goal so that we are truly compliant. So please bear with us. We're doing the best we can, and if anybody has an issue, we'll work with you as best we can to get you what you want when you want it. And that's, unless there's any questions, all I have to say.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hardy, second. Come on, it's
Is there a
adjourned.
second?
Vice Mayor, thank you. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. You gotta say it to close out the meeting. Congratulations, Commissioner
missed
Robinson.
Thank you.